Hi, Brock Anderson, Colt Anderson, Dylan Mackey, Hang Loose Outdoors. We're going to give you a quick weekly Hang Loose Outdoors tip. August 24th, we're pushing into the late summer fishing period, early fall. A lot of fish around the Grand Rapids area right now are on the weed lines or heading into the weed lines. There's always going to be, fish in that deeper water, but a majority of your fish right now are on the edge of the weeds or in the weeds. And we're just going to go over 3 pretty much go-to presentations that we like to use, late summer, early fall. I mean, this period of time can be tough fishing, but it's still real good fishing. And one of my go-to, especially my guide rigs, is just a small spinner, like a number 4, a single hook and a couple beads, and just a small lightweight bullet sinker in like a 3-foot leader, maybe a 4-foot leader. What you can do with this rig is it's just so universal. You can work it above the weeds, you can work it through the weeds, you can work it on the edge of the weeds, depending on how much line you have out. So if you're not getting bit with not much line out, let more line out. And I just tip this with a small chub. And that chub's going to catch a walleyes, it's going to catch a crappies, bass, northerns, pretty much, everything. It's a multi-species rig. And what that little spinner does when you have that chub on there is it kind of, when it spins, it's protecting that single hook and that chub, so you can rip right through the weeds, over the weeds.
Oh, yeah.
It's just basically experimenting. Keep your speed, that 0.6 to 1 mile an hour, and just fluctuate on how much line you're letting out. And if there's fish there, you're going to get bit. And if there's not, just move down the shore or move to a different shoreline. Just hit the cabbage weeds, hit the coontail. It's just a great multi-species rig, and again, it's going to catch you everything. And
Cover a lot of water, put it in front of a lot of fish's
It
faces.
has lately. We've pounded crappies, we've caught walleyes, like I said, pike, bass. It's simple, it's easy, and you can
Catch fish all year long
catch
with it.
fish, yep.
So as far as some of the deeper fish go, it's getting to be that time of year where the fish are going to need to start putting on some weight for winter. So this is what I run for a creek chub rig. I usually run a 1/2 to a 3/4, sometimes a 1 ounce weight when it depends on the depth you're fishing, and then just a single hook. So basically what that's doing is you're just trying to match the hatch. The young of the year perch are getting pretty big this time of year, so you're just putting a lot of big bait in front of their face, and they're getting real hungry this time of year. So
You're catching big fish with that rig. You can catch other fish too, but you're targeting big pike and big walleyes, and even a lot of big smallmouth are still deep right now too. So
Pump spin on for this big smallmouth late fall.
Yep, and so it's not something that you're going to cover a lot of ground with. I usually don't like to go, I usually keep it from the 0.5 to 0.7, so you kind of got to be on fish. It's not really a discovery mode type of tactic, but if you're on big fish in deeper water, this is definitely one of my go-to rigs.
use your graph if you find a congregation of fish. That's a rig to pull through them this time of year.
So one of my go-tos, especially, midsummer and even into fall, a lot of those fish are transitioning so that you can find them right off the weeds. A lot of lakes around here, maybe 16, 18 feet right before that cabbage starts, you're going to find a pile of fish. And I like to target them with a jig and wrap. This is a number 9. If I'm pitching it, if I'm throwing up right by the weeds, or if I'm trolling it, a lot of times I'll use a 7. But if I'm deeper than 20 feet, 30 feet, something like that, I'm going to throw a 9. And a lot of people, just vertically jig this in the summer months, which works great. But I like to troll the weed lines with it, just like Brock and the spinner rig. It catches everything. It's a reaction bite, so you can get anything to react on this: smallmouth, walleye, pike. But a lot of the times, pushing into fall here, I'm just targeting basically just walleye. That's just my personal preference, and you'll get a lot of big fish on them too. So it's a fast way to fish. You'll cover a lot of water, pull up to a spot, fan cast the area, and get out. takes 5 minutes to cover a spot, and it's just a great bite. They're always smacking it. It's a fun way to target them, and like I said, you can cover a lot of water doing it. So it's good all the way through fall.
And then, like we were talking about multi-species, like the crappies right now are in the weeds, but they're gonna start, as fall progresses here, they're gonna start moving out into those deeper basins where you find them in, you know, early ice.
Yep,
And
these work great for that too. Just go to a number 3 or number 5. You'll see them on your graph, look like spaghetti strings down there. And I mean, a lot of guys aren't usually familiar with fishing crappies with something so aggressive like that. You know, they're usually looking for a slow fall, but those crappies smack that number 3, number 5 jigging wrap, and you can get down there quick and catch a lot of them very quickly.
so it's a great time of year to get out there, you know, target whatever you want, but also just target multi-species fish, because
Yeah, experiment. I
Yep.
mean, fish are biting. Everything's going to those weeds right now, especially those spinner bites and things like that. Get in there and try something new. I mean, you know, try something. You want to build a little confidence. You want to catch some fish. I mean, get in those cabbage weeds and start throwing around. You'll put together a pretty good bag right now.
well,
So.
so that's your hang loose tip for this week, and get out on the water and have some fun catching some fish. See you next week. Thanks.